Good day to you. I'm Paul Friedman, founder of the Marriage Foundation. The topic of this video is 7 strategies for reviving my marriage. And this is just for men. I think we already did one for women. So if you're a man, this is for you. So here's the thing. If you're wanting to revive it because you feel like you've let your wife down, this is extremely good. If your wife is kind of losing interest in you in some fashion, this is really good for you. Ultimately, though, if you're having these kind of difficulties in your marriage, it is a sign that, like most people in the world, just were not educated about marriage. And the Marriage Foundation, which is what I founded, you see, I was a divorce mediator. I wasn't a Western psychologist. So everything that we do here is very different. It's based on what a marriage is supposed to be, how to create it, how to make it amazing. And in fact, if you want, there's 10 do's and don'ts for marriage. You should download that too. You can go to our website for that. Let's get into this. So I don't like to, and you'll find this is normal for the Marriage Foundation, we don't get into the problems. We don't get into the issues. We don't do a find and fix thing. What we do is we teach you how to be married, how to revive your marriage through positive action, through positive thinking, through positive attitudes. It's all about being positive, because marriage is for happiness. We get married to be happy. Marriage is for love. We fell in love and we want our wives to feel that love that we feel for her, and we want her to feel it for us. And harmony. We want our home to be simply harmonious. And sometimes it takes a little bit of a stretch for men, for us men, because we're not used to the kind of communication, the level of communication that is, shall I say, expected by a woman. So number 1, begin by reviving memories of the woman who you first met. What was she like? Who is she? What was it about her that turned you on? So how you used to see your wife now, how you used to see her as the woman who you wanted to win over. Go back to that. Those were who she is. Even though she may have sort of exaggerated the positive, you did too, you still want to stay focused on that woman. And you can do that. And when it comes up in your mind, some negative response to that, that's the mind. Ignore that. You want to really start living in the space of, I love this woman, I really want her to be my wife. So that's number 1. Number 2, treating her, now that you've done this, treating her with the I'm going to win this woman attitude. You know, some of those things are, you are very complimentary. You always smiled towards her. You never frowned at her. You never got angry with her. You know, you were very good. You were very well behaved. So that has to come back, because that's how you won her in the first place, right? So this is common sense. I think you'll find that to be true. You know, years ago, I had a good friend who was the head minister of a Southern Baptist church. Nothing like what I practice. I'm not Southern Baptist. And we actually met at a Starbucks, and we would have these discussions about marriage, and he read my book, Breaking the Cycle, and we had great discussions. And he said, what I like about what you're doing is it's commonsensical. And it's true. And marriage is commonsensical. And we get distracted by things that we mislearn. Like, where do we learn how to be sarcastic to our wife? From television shows, movies, and it's wrong. Hollywood has no idea about how to be married, obviously. Number 3. Okay, this is not a pitch, But learn how to be married by reading one of my books, unless you need more, unless you need a course for men. But just read one of my books. It's a very inexpensive way to really learn. Both of my books are sort of overlays. They're bird's eye view of what a marriage is supposed to look like, which is very positive. And remember, marriage is designed to be happy. You're supposed to be happy. It's a birthright, literally, to be happy. You're supposed to feel love all the time, constant love and harmony. That's what marriage is all about. Okay, so number 4, make a determination. You have free will and you get to use it. You have volition. So determine from now that you're going to be happy for the rest of your life. Come hell or high water, no matter what you're encountering, no matter what challenges you're challenging. And remember this, you're never challenged by your wife. That's never the case. You're challenged by your inner mental reactions towards her. So you got to put that in the context where it belongs. The mind is all about self-preservation because the body is. And until you as a soul take over the mind, which is what we get into in the course, quite frankly, then you're a victim of this self-preservation pushing you all the time. And so your mind reacts to her as if she's not your wife, as if she's some sort of enemy, which is absurd, as you know, even intellectually. So be very careful about that. Determine also that you're going to always be happy. How do you do that? I mean, the truth is that you already have that inner quality of joy because you're a soul. You have a body, you have a mind, but essentially we're all spiritual beings, we're souls. So it's a matter of tuning in with that, being aligned with that, not being pestered and badgered by these negative thoughts. Negative thinking will really destroy anybody. So you have control over your mind. That's part of how we teach people to be married. So don't allow your mind to control you, basically. Be happy. Number 5. And this one is interesting. You may not want to take this on, but maybe it'll give you an idea. And number 5 is consciously identify your shortcomings. We don't do that. If I asked you, if we were standing together and I said, hey, are you perfect? You'd go, hell no, nobody's perfect. Right, okay. What's your number 1 shortcoming? Aha. You don't know. We don't know. Because, again, the mind is all about self-preservation, and it's very weak to notice that we have a flaw. But you can do some introspection and figure out what it is. When you identify the first one, make up your mind to get rid of it. And then after a time, number 2, what is the next flaw? And trust me, it goes on forever. And you just get rid of them one at a time. You may not want to take this one on, but it's really a good one. Why? Because you want your wife to see the pure you, the real you, not the one that is created by your thinking. This is how people know us, by how we think, how we behave. And we even know ourselves that way. And we fall into being trapped into our inner reactions. So this is important. Number 6, and this is going to be difficult for you. It's difficult for men in particular, but it's difficult for women too. Because how do we see sex? This is all about sex. We see sex as we have been trained to see sex, which is basically recreational. How was it for you? How did I do? Oh boy, what you did, that was great, da-da-da. It's very surfacey. Now, here's the truth about sex for a human being. For an animal, what's sex about? Only one thing. And I don't care about these studies that say porpoises do this and gorillas do that. Screw all that stuff. It's stupid. Animals have sex to procreate. That's it. It's a biological function. And then what happens is Man, because we have a biological body, we get into sex and we turn it into the sophisticated experience of pleasuring. But that's not what it's for. Because as a human being, again, going back, you're a soul, you have a body, and you have a mind. And so our highest effort, our goal, is to be in joy, to be identified as that soul. And you're with your soul mate. So we should be using sex. Once in a while, it's fun to have fun with sex, but primarily to create the connection. And we do that with conscious visualization. For instance, what I do is I open up my heart, I visualize my heart opening up, and liquid love flowing out of my heart over my wife, into my wife. And don't get cute here. I actually, about having orgasms and coming, it's not a priority for me. In fact, it's a priority for me not to, because it takes away from the experience of the heart. As soon as you get down into experiencing sex at the genitalia level or in the mind, you've missed the point. So that's about sex. Bring it up to a higher level. And number 7, this is crucial, and yet we don't learn this. I discovered it because I made it a point to learn about marriage without the Western psychological nonsense. By the way, if you're a Western psychologist, we have plenty, and you want to start becoming a TMF marriage counselor, we have a course. We could teach you. We could even certify you our way, which works, as opposed to the Western psychological way of how does that make you feel, and what did he do to make you mad, and what did she do to upset you. All that stuff doesn't work. Our stuff works. So recognize the purpose of marriage. There's a purpose. There's an ultimate purpose of marriage. And I'm not talking about the reasons. Those, like, I want to have a family, I want to be with my soulmate the rest of my life. Those are good reasons, but there's an ultimate purpose. As human beings, we're intended to evolve, but not like, these crazy people have decided if you evolve, you're not spiritual. If you're spiritual, you don't believe in evolution. Of course there's evolution. There's evolution of our consciousness. And it's always towards the same thing. All human beings crave happiness, real happiness, the joy from within. And in order to achieve that, we crave love. And to achieve that love, we have to recognize it as God's love. It's unconditional. And so we want to manifest God's love, unconditional love, in our marriage. By doing that, we're becoming tuned in to God, we're being tuned into our higher self, and we're feeling undescribable joy. Now, if you're an atheist or you're just not into it much, it's okay. It doesn't make any difference, because you still will get the benefit, because it's science, spiritual science. Learn to love your wife unconditionally. And don't tolerate inconsistencies in that effort. And you will see, it changes everything. Will it revive your marriage? Oh yeah, big time. So that's it. Those are the 7 strategies for reviving my marriage for men. And if you were a woman, I'd say post this on social media, but men don't generally do that because it's kind of mushy, and it is what it is, but it would be nice if you did. And also, like the video, it helps the algorithm. You could subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Definitely go to the website and get the 10 top do's and don'ts for marriage, because that will help you also. I'm Paul Friedman. I founded the Marriage Foundation. I'm very glad you stopped by. God bless you. God bless your wife and family. And I hope to see you again. And if you have a question, it's best to go to our website and write to a counselor. You could leave a comment on this video, but write to a counselor if you have a question. So God bless you. Thank you, and take care.